Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Um, so today's live, I have a friend I recently met. Her name is Odille, and I went on her page and seen the way that she shares her messages, and I thought it would be so much fun to bring her on. She has these coffee things. She was showing, and I was like, I was interested to know what it was, and she sent me some, and I used it and I loved it. So I wanted her to come on here, share her product, and also just share what she does in the community. Thank you guys for joining me. If you jump on, say hi. I'm going to go ahead as usual and send out a request for Odile. And there she is. As you guys jump on, say hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to wait for my friend to come on, and she is going to share with us some of the ways she helped people find their authentic power within themselves and help empower them to live their best life. So, hello, Gaia Man. I'm sure that's just your Facebook name or maybe your real name, but thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for jumping on. I'm just waiting. There she is. And drum roll. Hello. Wait. Hey, there you are.
Hello.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear
Is
me
your
okay?
volume turned all the way up?
My volume is, yes, it's all the
Okay,
way up.
there it is.
Can you
How
hear me
are
all right?
you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are
Nice to
you?
see you. This is my first time seeing you face to face. It's so nice to meet you officially.
Indeed, and you. How lovely to see you in person.
Yes, I love your accent. Where are you from originally?
Thank you. I love yours.
Thank you.
I was born in London and grew up in South Africa and then
Nice.
lived back in England for a while. So I've got a bit of a mix of an accent.
Okay. Oh, nice. I was just sharing with everybody who's joining us that we recently became friends. At least that I'm aware of. We recently became friends, and I love your content that you share. But one of the things that really pulled me to you was a post that you put one day, um, that you never thought that you would find a relationship that the way you did, and I was just like, and I think you said something like this later on in life, you didn't expect it, and it's been the best ever. And I was just like curious to see. So that made me go looking on your page, and then I seen the coffee and stuff like that. I was sharing with them. I still have the packet from the coffee that you sent me, and I love that. And so I was like, I gotta have her come on since I started doing this. So thank you for joining me.
Oh, Prudence, it is such a pleasure. And I love your posts. You always make me smile. Whenever I see your posts come up and your stories come up, it always brings a smile to my face. You
Thank
have such
you.
wonderful content and such a lovely presence. Really
Thank you.
lovely.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do and how do you help people find their authentic power?
Thank you. Yes, though. Thank you for having me on. So, the sort of in a nutshell,
Yes.
I spent my whole life struggling, emotionally, physically, and financially. And as you mentioned, relationship wise, I just, I'd made a complete mess of my life.
Yes.
And back in 2015, towards the end of 2015, at 51 years old, I was divorced, renting a room in a shared house in England, cleaning other people's houses, and unable to pay my bills. And then I tried everything from the law of attraction to budgeting, actual practical things,
Yes.
spiritual stuff. I had tried literally everything, and I was doing a lot of research into the brain and the subconscious and all of that, while at the same time following Abe Hicks, Joe Dispenza. I'm sure you know quite a few
Yes.
of those,
All of them. Yeah. Yeah.
which are all wonderful,
Yeah.
but I was still struggling.
Mhm.
And I finally, I created a modality around the power of unconditional love,
Mhm.
using unconditional love as a power, which I believe is what it is, which I call the superpower.
Yes.
And I wrote a book on that, and that was all great, but there was still something missing for me. and I finally found what it is.
True.
So,
I
you
know I'm
ready?
excited. I'm like, give us the secret. Everybody get your pen and papers.
Absolutely. And what I'm going to tell you now is the reason that so many of those modalities, including things like affirmations, work sometimes for some people, for some things, but not consistently. And the reason is childhood memories. And I know that may sound a bit
No,
bizarre.
absolutely. Everything. I talked about that on one of the shows yesterday was a lot of what happens when we're younger, the rest of our lives, we that's kind of the journey we signed up for unknowingly, knowingly now. But
Right.
it is whatever happened then and now heal.
That's it.
Fun.
And the thing is, the way I look at it is like we're all trying to drive from wherever we are now to where we want to get
Yes.
to the results we want. And so the three sections that we use in the Remmert method and that we teach is number one, you need to know how to drive. Because if you don't know how to drive, of course, you won't get very far.
Yes.
And that piece is the superpower. So, and that means learning to control your brain and body chemistry.
Yes.
So it's based on the latest in neuroscience, and it's I won't go into too much detail unless you want it, but it's
Yes,
basically
please.
so the way you feel.
Is there any way you can make your voice? If anybody else is hearing her fine, then it might just be my connection. But if you can hear us both, if you get somebody who's looking can just say yes, we hear you both well, because I hear you really low, and I'm straining hard to hear you, and I want to hear you.
Okay. Can you hear if I speak a little louder?
Yes,
Like
that
that?
helps a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'll project.
Okay.
So oh, I wonder if my phone is supposed to be on speaker or something.
No, no, no. It's good now, and I can hear you good now. You can continue. Okay.
Um, so the piece, oh good,
Yes, he says yes.
guidance
Thank you.
yes, thank you. So that piece is about learning to control brain and body chemistry. So what we feel, our emotions are actually physical sensations inside our body created, caused by chemicals.
Mhm.
And to put it very simply, negative emotions are the result of stress chemicals like adrenaline, cortisol, and feel good, happy emotions, good emotions are feel good chemicals like endorphins, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine.
Yes.
And the connections, so when you have a thought is connections between neurons in the neocortex of the brain.
Yes.
And those connections, as they connect, they trigger matching chemicals. So negative thoughts produce stress chemicals, happy thoughts,
yes,
positive thoughts produce feel good chemicals. Now, the thing with that is it's more than just how it feels, because one of the effects of stress chemicals is they cause blood to drain from the prefrontal cortex of the brain where we do our cognitive thinking
yes,
to the back of the brain for survival, which means, and the cognitive thinking part of the brain is where we do problem solving and noticing opportunities and communication and processing information and all of that. So it means that whenever we're feeling a negative emotion, we literally can't think straight. So
yes,
it's like trying to drive with the handbrake on.
yes.
So to release the
Stop the
handbrake,
oxygen from flowing in your body, and that
right,
makes everything goes off of whack when you're not, you know what I mean? You're not allowing, and the blood, like you're saying, is flowing in your body. It stops and sends all the chemicals crazy.
yes,
Yeah.
and specifically that thinking part of the brain, that cognitive thinking part of the brain. So that's why we're then very emotional, because we're behaving as if we've been presented with a bear or some other kind of physical threat. And so to bring that part of the brain back online, we need to bring down the stress chemicals and produce feel-good chemicals. Then blood returns to that part of the brain and we can think clearly again. So that's like releasing the handbrake.
Yeah.
And so we teach the superpower technique, which helps people to do that, to gain control over the brain chemistry, which is the equivalent of learning to drive the car. Yeah. Now, once you know how to drive the car, you want to make sure that your GPS coordinates are set to the destination you want to end up in, and not where you are now, where you've been before.
Yeah.
So that is where the childhood memories come in. And what most people don't realize, we're not told this, and it is fairly recent neuroscience, is that not only can you change memories, but they are already changing.
Yeah, oh,
Every
I
time
love
you recall a
that.
memory, it's changed already.
I love that. Yes, because that is one of the things I learned a tip. I think I watched Teal Swan was doing some type of a meditation one time, and she did a regression one where you would go back into the past, and then it went back further, even to like I remember being 3 months old, and a conversation between my mom and my dad, and I went to ask my mom, was that something that you guys talked about? And it was about money, and it was this, and of
Mhm.
course it was around the time, because at 2 years old they ended up splitting up, but the taking back, she said a lot of the times and helped me understand, and then a lot of other teachers also brought this to light, was that a lot of things would happen to us was when we were little, and even if you go back further, and of course now even understanding that from our DNA and our parents when they were pregnant with us, well, our mothers when she's pregnant with us, and the dad, uh how his vibration, his emotion, his DNA cells were also at the time conceiving you, can be into yours. So now it's up to you now to keep what you want to keep and change what it is you want. Like you said, set your GPS. I love that.
That's it. Yeah.
Love that.
And so
Setting,
what
I'm
we
sorry.
do, yeah. So one of the main things we do with the Remit method is we actually change those negative childhood memories to the opposite, positive and empowering.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, for me, instead of my dad leaving when I was 3 years old and, not coming back again, now my dad is there all the time. I've put him throughout my childhood. He's at school, he picks me up from school and all that. Now, the conscious mind will always know what really happened.
Yes.
So that's why I tell
Right.
you my dad left when I was 3. But the subconscious can't tell the difference between reality and imagination,
Yes.
which is why when we watch a scary movie, the brain and body go into the same state
Yes.
as if they would if the movie was real.
So
And
important to know that. Yes.
right. And so that means two things. Number one, it means that you just have to think of something you're worried about for you to produce those stress chemicals and take your prefrontal cortex offline.
Yes.
And second thing it means is that we can easily, well, not easily, but we can change childhood memories, and the subconscious believes the new memories.
That's so amazing, right? Isn't that
It,
so
it
amazing? That's
really is.
so free. That's such a beautiful tool. The way the high conscience set up everything, when we talk to other people like this, is what I love it, because it just reminds us how everything's synchronized together. Every single person complements each other that I've had on so far to me. And what you're saying is, what I get from it is that the chemicals in our body, which we've heard, they have their own little world that they live in too within us, right? There's this little world
Mhm.
going on within us. And so that's a vibration emitting from us. And if the chemicals are off, that negative, and that whole cycle return, and as well as if it's in harmony and synchronization, the vibration emits from that, and that whole give and take back too. So, oh, I love it so much. Makes me so
Absolutely.
excited.
And so that's a really important piece, and that's the piece I was missing. So I was doing everything, I was doing all the positive thinking, I was doing everything I possibly could, but I still, every time I tried to move forward, every time I used an affirmation like I am worthy and I deserve abundance and all of that, my subconscious was referring to those childhood
Yes.
memories that I
What?
knew
What are you
that
talking
we're
about?
not worthy, that that I didn't deserve, that it's dangerous to have money, those kind of things. And then in addition to that, the subconscious is metaphoric. So one of the questions we ask is, if for example, let's say money, if money was a person, who would it be? And in my case, I thought it would be my mum because she also struggled financially. But then I realized it wasn't, it was my dad, because I was having the same experience with money that I had with my dad.
Oh,
So when
wow.
my dad left, we were told he was
Yes.
coming back,
Yeah.
and he never did. So I spent my whole childhood and teenage years expecting my dad to come back, and he never did. And then as an adult, I kept expecting money to come in, and it wouldn't, against all
Yes.
odds, it would
Oh,
fail
wow. That's a
somehow.
really good click.
So, right. So then money was now playing the role of my dad.
Yes.
So and so there's a lot of that to it. So I'd love to give you and your viewers just a little bit of guidance, like the three questions to
Please.
ask.
Yes. Please
Um,
do.
so to find those childhood memories that are causing current issues. So you ask, the first question is, how do I know? So how do I know it's a problem? So for example, in my case, it was, how do I know I have a money problem? And then the second question is, how does that feel? So, for example, how do I know I have a money problem? My answer was, I don't have enough money to pay my bills.
Mhm.
The second part of the second question, how does that feel? For me, it felt like people want something of me and I don't have it to give them. I want to give it, but I don't have it. And then
Yeah.
the third question is, where in your childhood did you feel that same feeling? Very importantly, it may be a different topic. So it may be a different topic, but will be the same feeling. And for
Yes.
me, it was my entire childhood, and it was about expectations. I was expected to be something that wasn't me, that wasn't authentic. And so then you can go and change those to the opposite, positive and empowering. And we have a step-by-step video on YouTube that takes you through the process of changing memories.
Nice. Will you share that with us when we're finished? Put that in the chat for everybody. I was going to say, if you could write those questions, if you have time, I don't know, on there too, so they can see that. That's awesome. I love that. What are some tips that you have to help change? Like when you identify the thought that you want to change, how, just like, what is one tip that you can give to help people switch into the thought that you do want?
Very good, a very good question. So I've got a few different options, and I think the quickest, easiest one, one of my favorite
Yes.
tips is take a deep breath and close your eyes, and you think of your favorite color.
Oh, I
Just your
see you
favorite
post
color,
that.
and you imagine being surrounded by your favorite color, and allow yourself to feel the feeling of that color.
Oh,
And then imagine the little you, yourself as a child, any age, in front of you, and imagine giving that little you a hug.
that is, let me tell you, that is so amazing. I did a Facebook Live with one of my friends that's coming on next week too, but I did on hers, and she was saying one of her techniques she does, like to protect her energy, was invisible in imagine herself in a bubble of pink. It's a pink. I'm supposing now pink must be her favorite color and soothing. And she imagines her being in there and surround and keeping her protected. And then she taught that to her kids that were having problems sleeping, and it helped them get rid of their nightmares. So,
Yes,
oh
it's
my
very
goodness,
effective.
how cool
And
is that? You
in
got, you
our
got a tip.
well, in our we do a daily group with our subscribers, and one of the and in fact we've got free videos on those as well that people are
Oh,
welcome
thank
to
you.
watch.
Yes, great.
And in there, where we started that during the lockdowns, and so somebody, one of the members or suggested we imagine it as a hazmat suit. You know those protection suits
Yes,
that they
yes.
wear. So it was a hazmat suit of your favorite color.
Yes. That's so, I love it. Again, to me, how everything kind of connects. Every gift you have, I had invited some, friends if they wanted to come on too, because they have different things they offer. And some people are like, it's not spiritual when I do it, but everything is spiritual to me. And if you
Absolutely.
hit on a different perspective of it, whether you're drawing, coloring, whatever, everything and it all connects, because like you're saying, if you want to promote art, and that brings you to a state of meditation, that brings you to a state of focus, that is spiritual. Everything is spiritual, and I love that. I love that. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. So if people wanted to reach you, can you tell us some of the reasons why they would reach out to you, and how can they reach out to you?
Of course, yes. So I'm on Facebook, so very welcome to reach out to me on Facebook. Also, our website is called theremmetmethod.com.
Okay.
And we have a lot of free content. So for people who want to just do it themselves, I one of my passions is making sure that everyone has the resources
Yes.
and the ability to empower themselves without needing to pay anything or rely on anyone else.
I love you.
And so we have a lot of videos on YouTube, but also on our website, we have a free starter pack. And it's an email thing, and you get the questions and all of that.
Yeah.
You get an MP3 audio of me talking you through the superpower exercise and the step-by-step video. But also on our website, there's all the free sessions that we did during the lockdown, of group sessions that you can follow along, listen, watch and listen and follow along and learn to do it yourself just by watching those videos. You don't have to sign up for anything. And nobody even needs to know you're doing it.
I know, that's so cool. That makes people want. I love it. I love it. Leave that openness for them to choose, and so they can go in more, and still give them the tools to heal themselves. So that's beautiful. I love that. And you'll leave the link for that as well too under the comments for them.
Yes, I will.
So that's so amazing. That's so many gifts you've gifted us. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. My passion is empowering people. So
yeah.
And then they have the choice, at least. That's the main thing.
That's awesome. Well, unless there's anything else that you want to add, I think that was so